Chair and for such good initiatives. Thank you.
I call the Honourable Member Grant Robertson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As a member of the Select Committee that heard the bill, I think it's a great opportunity for me to take a call, my first call on the bill, and firstly to do as others have and recognise the Minister in the Chair, the Honourable Tariana Turia. There is no doubt as to Minister Turia's commitment to this issue and to dealing with the scourge that is cigarette smoking tobacco in New Zealand. She's had that commitment and has steadfastly put through various pieces of legislation, including this one, and I do congratulate her on that. The Select Committee was fairly much unified in its consideration of the bill. It wasn't an easy consideration. There was a lot of technicalities. In that regard, I certainly thank the officials for their assistance in helping us understand all of those technicalities. It is good to see the National Party on side on this bill. It hasn't always been so with the National Party when it comes to measures to curb tobacco smoking, and Dr. Paul Hutchison certainly always was. That's a very good point, and he stood up against the rest of his party, including the Minister of Health, Tony Ryle, when they opposed the banning of smoking in bars and restaurants, and I'm sure that Dr. Hutchison's colleagues now look to him as a man of wisdom when it comes to these matters. But the Select Committee certainly did have an interesting array of submissions come before us, and submitters indeed come before us, and there were strong views on all sides. There were especially strong views from public health physicians and academics, from those involved in the anti-smoking groups, and from the friends and family of those who had died from smoking-related illnesses. And it was difficult to listen to those submissions and know that we had the responsibility on us to do this, while small but significant step in reducing the harm caused by cigarettes in New Zealand. Equally, on the other side of the argument, we had some submissions from retailers who were very concerned about the impact on their business. We also had some slightly odd submissions in that regard, and I don't think I'll ever forget hearing the evidence from the specialist tobacco retailer who spoke to us actually by phone and extraordinarily asking him questions about what he knew about some of the people who came in and bought products from him, to the point that he was telling us that he was well aware how sick some of them were, that they were in fact in the advanced stages of illnesses that had directly come from smoking. Yet he seemed to think that was okay. It was quite extraordinary to listen to those submissions, and I feel good today that we're back in front of the House with a bill that is rigorous and puts in place the regime that it does. Mr. Chair, we'll have, Dr. Matt, we will have more thorough examination of the activities of the Royal Society in the coming weeks and months ahead, and I'm pleased that that's occurring, but I won't be diverted onto that. I want to speak briefly about the SOP in the name of my colleague Ian Lees-Galloway, because I do think it does two important things that we would seek the support of the National Party members on, because it really adds to what has already been done, and I don't think in any way the National Party should see this as a hostile SOP. It in fact very much supports the direction of the bill. The first of those was just mentioned by Rahui Katane in her intervention, which is around extending out the prohibitions that have been put in place around free distribution. Now, people might think that the tobacco companies are not up to this kind of activity, this nefarious kind of activity where behind the scenes they're trying to develop a relationship with a retailer that will put their product forward. They are. This is what the tobacco industry does, and they are doing this. And in Ian Lees-Galloway's SOP, he is putting in a clause that not only makes retailers deal with this, but also wholesalers. And I think it's very important that the way in which tobacco products are distributed needs to be taken into account in this bill and in this particular clause. So I would urge members on the other side of the House to realise that all Ian Lees-Galloway's SOP is doing is extending the ambit of this clause to take into account the way in which tobacco products find themselves into a retail setting, and that is obviously, into people's pockets, and that is also through a retail setting, but also through wholesalers, and I think it's very important that we do support that. The other new clause that Ian Lees-Galloway is suggesting in his SOP is around the kinds of signage that is available at point of sale. And the committee did talk at some length about this, because it is possible for a tobacco company with its back against the wall, having lost the ability to have colourful displays that promote... Mr Chair?
I call the honourable member Nicky Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.